I want to thank you for coming this evening. And one thing is, over the last few years, I think you have been making great strides. And one of them is the fact of doing away with the township assessors and putting more control into the county assessor to get a more even assessed valuation throughout the whole county by one individual. And that's one problem that we're still having until you can get control of the assessed value and it be done on a true market value approach. We're going to have some trouble with assessed values in terms. I have taken a very unpopular stand on the circuit breaker issue, and I passed out these sheets this evening. I have, and I would appreciate it if you take time to read them. My problem is the fact that it's unfair with when the cap kicks in, and actually on page 2, I show an illustration of Jackson Township in this county, comparing it to Fort Wayne Township, and what the assessed value of the home is $200,000, and of course you have the homestead exemption, and then the amount that exceeds that of 35% deduction, so you end up with a net assessed value of $100,750. When you take that times the individual tax rates, Jackson Township is $1,500 plus is what their tax bill would be, which is under the 1% circuit breaker. In Wayne Township, it'd be $2,877. So they would receive a circuit breaker or tax cap credit of $877.92. Where the problem comes in is then, as you can see, when you have the county, township, school, airport, library, city link, and city and spatial taxes on your left-hand side of your paper, that the Jackson Township will be paying $142 more to the county than what the Fort Wayne Township property would be, even though they're the exact same assessed value. That's 31% less that they're paying, and I don't think that that is fair, that you have two property owners in the county and receiving the same service from the county, and one is paying 31% less than what the other one is paying. And you have the same thing with the airport. It's 31% on, it's 31% on the library and also on the airport. And that is because it's a county-wide tax unit is what creates the unfairness of the program. I firmly, and as I got there in my closing paragraph, I firmly believe that we need to cut government spending, local, state, and nation. But it needs to be done in a fair way. And I think that, Jeff, when you voted for Governor Bowen's tax relief and everything that he did in '73, I think possibly he was on the right track. That your tax levy, the problem was you had the government doing bond issues, and the bond payments was outside of the tax levy. You had a lot of different expenditures that could be added on being outside of the tax levy, and I think that is something that definitely needs to be stopped. Believe me, I had the privilege of coming on to the county council at the same time that Paula Hughes did in 2002, and you can look at our record of a lot of the cuts and expenditures that the county has done. As a matter of fact, the county would probably be lowering their tax rate if the tax caps did not come in. But there is another thing there I would like to point out to you, that if a unit of government cuts their property tax rate, they lose revenue in the vehicle excise tax, the commercial vehicle excise tax, the financial institute tax, and also in the option income tax, because all of them funds are dispersed based upon your tax rates. So you're hurting yourself when you cut your tax rate, is what it ends up doing. Again, I appreciate the work that you're doing on trying to find a solution for this problem, but I do not feel that the 1%, 2%, and 3% tax caps is the fair solution.
Well, Roy, you're correct in that those who live in higher tax rate communities are going to enjoy the benefits of the breaker protection for those who do not, okay? I live in a rural area in Wells County. Frankly, my home is already, my AD, my tax rate is under 1%. Caps don't do one thing for me. People who live in Bluffton, Indiana, my county seat, are going to immediately benefit from caps if they have a home similar to mine and assessed similar to mine. So you make a valid point. The bottom line still is, two bottom lines. The first bottom line is they're still paying the same rate for the service, but the effective rate, which is your point, is less in the city because they're getting the protection of the caps. Valid point. We can't fix everything, Roy, but I will tell you this. If you oppose this and you derail the passage of these caps, what will happen is exactly what Senator Long said. It will be challenged in court. It will all be thrown out on the basis of constitutionality. We'll lose the caps, we'll lose the deductions that we now have under current law, and at a minimum, it takes 4 years to get back where we are today. Must pass 2 separately elected legislatures. So I guess my advice to you is if you are for controlling government spending and government growth and taxation, you better be for this, and if we can figure out a better way to fix it later, then let's do that.
But by that time, Jeff, it would be on the council.
Why don't we let somebody else say something here too, right? Anybody down here want to say something? No, not Jeff, I meant somebody else. Phyllis and Deb, I meant you to speak.
I think Roy has a valid point, and you know, when you do something, there's going to be some winners, some losers. Everything can't be perfect and ideal for everybody. I think this is a good system overall. I think it's better than not doing anything, and I think this is still going to help the taxpayer out overall. So, you know, I think it's good that you did this analysis. I think this is wonderful that you've come up with this to point this out and to show this one area there where there is some discrepancy, and I think that's good that you've done that, and I appreciate it very much, but I don't think that means that we throw the whole thing out, because I think the benefits outweigh this particular disadvantage, in my position.
Thank you. And Roy, you've done a good job here, and I'm glad you brought up the point, but we must get this passed. It'll take another 4 or 5 years before we can come back to this point. I would like to point out, too, that I would favor getting the non-elected boards under the county council, because like they have 4 or 5 boards that can raise taxes. The airport board, the library board, park board, let's see, there's 1 or 2 more. But those should definitely be under the control of the county council, and not just to have have it reviewed. It should be that the county council could say, wait a minute, you're out of line on this, you're out of line on that, and they should have the final say, because those are elected people.
I'm glad to hear you say that, Phyllis. Great. Then you will support our legislation that we are proposing for this year. Because that's 2 of the boards that we put on here that we think. Pardon me?
That has been one of our problems.
Yes.
Thanks, Roy. You're right.
But the other thing I wanted to bring up on page 1, if you look at the example 3, the COIT, the local option income tax, and how that will affect that it's the people that are receiving the benefit from the circuit breaker will not receive benefit from the local option income tax reducing of property taxes. And I think a lot of people overlook that too. So again, thank you.